Namaste, everybody. Hello. Hello, my beautiful, beautiful children. Welcome back to another episode of the Differently Wired Show, episode 37. Special guest, well, I'll get into who the special guest is momentarily. But we just got to do all the usual professional stuff where I tell you who I am and who my colleague is and how awesome we are and how awesome all you are. I'm Max Derrat, your friendly neighborhood Simpsons kin. Before we get into the main subject of the show, ladies and gentlemen, just got to do the usual stuff, as I said. Facebook page, we have one. Go like it if you haven't yet. It boosts our digital ego if you're interested in doing that for us. Also, we do have a Discord server. I think we're just around 750 members right now. Last time I checked, which is pretty good. I got to tell you this, John. I got a message. Do you remember a few shows ago where we got that email from the firefighters who said he was thinking of quitting his job? Well, he joined our Discord server a couple days ago, and it's been lovely to talk to him, obviously. But when he got to the server, after a couple days of being on, he said, wow, this is like the most wholesome place on the internet. And I said, I agree. And I'm not just saying that from a place of ego. It's factually true. Everybody there is so nice and so supportive. And we'll be talking more about the Discord server and some of the stuff that we offer there a little bit later in the show and stuff that's going to be coming. But for now, if you want to go there and talk about my videos, or if you're seeking mental health support, you can get all of that there. Just click on the link in the description box below. And also,
my audio.
Oh, yeah, it's because you were muted. I'm sorry.
That would explain it.
Wow, good
job. You always wanted to do that, right?
Okay, the secret's out. I was planning a mutiny. I was planning on making the show
I love that.
Simpsons kin only. That's racist. Anyways, no, it wasn't intentional. I'm sorry, guys. We got together like half an hour before the show so we could iron out the bugs. But I'm just
there'll always be bugs.
Yeah, especially with me and my jaundice day. Okay. So what else do I have here? Oh yeah, I have a new video out. If you guys are fans of The Shining, I released a video just over a day ago, which you can go check out. In case you ever were wondering some of the mysteries of The Shining, you can go and check that out on my channel now. And then finally, in case you guys didn't know, I did create a Subscribestar account at the beginning of this month. Subscribestar is basically like Patreon, except without all the unethical business practices and underhanded trickery. I won't get into that because we don't talk about politics here. But if you want to support my work financially, you can just click on the link in the description box below. And if you do, there are various rewards for doing so. You can check those out and see if they appeal to you. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into the main reason why we're here today. I'm very, very... very, very excited about this. This is something that I've been trying to plan out and bring together for a while. How do I want to sort of bring this about? I came across this woman a couple months ago when I was feeling particularly down. My mental health was suffering quite greatly, and I was feeling particularly bad about myself. And I came across her videos on YouTube when I was doing searches in regards to some particularly challenging topics in regards to mental health and being able to survive it, and why you should continue to fight to live with it. And I came across her videos, and ever since I watched them, they've essentially changed my perspective on everything. It's given me the strength sort of to continue to fight on and sort of be a beacon of light to other people that might be suffering as much as I do, or even worse. And from that, I'd be able to derive meaning, which is one of the main reasons why I continue to do the show today with John and continue to push forward. We'll get into more of the specifics in regards to how that whole journey transpired. But first of all, I have to actually introduce the name of the woman that was responsible for that. So let me bring her up on screen right now. Say hi.
Hello, hello.
Some of you may recognize this woman, particularly if you've watched some videos that I put out a few months ago. Her name is Rachel Moorefield. She is the woman that I was just speaking about, and thankfully we've finally managed to bring her on the program. So Rachel, how are you doing this evening?
I am good. Honestly, I am full of anxiety because I've never done a live YouTube feed before. So
Mm.
a little shaky, but we're working through it.
Well, like I said before the show, everybody here is more than accommodating and welcoming and understanding. So just try to, I suppose, not. I don't want to say have fun because that's not the right word, but you sort of know what I mean by that. So we're essentially here today to talk to Rachel about how she started her YouTube channel, um, how she managed to get success from it, and also how her goals on YouTube and my goals on YouTube sort of intertwine. So let's get started. Rachel, in regards to doing YouTube, I think it'd be appropriate to sort of start like why exactly it is that you wanted to make a YouTube channel and why that was sort of cathartic for you for what was going on in your life at the time.
Oh boy. I keep going back to that and I haven't really figured out. I think there's many different reasons. I think I found myself feeling very alone and very angry, and I didn't feel like anybody understood. I felt I felt lost. I
Mm.
just felt like I was in the dark. And I just told Steve when he went to pick up the girls, I mean, I hadn't left the house in a long time. And I said, I'm going to just try to like put my feelings down on video. And I did. And like, I don't know, like 30 minutes later, I had a video of me just basically spilling out my guts on everything that I had been feeling. And I sent it to Steve and I said, is something you can put on YouTube? And he said, go for it. And that was just kind of where things started. And people started sending messages, and some of them were not great. Some of them have.
Well, sorry, Mrs. Moorfield, to interrupt you,
Yeah,
but I think it's best if we just take a little bit of a step back here because while
yeah,
there are some people here that know who you are and what we're discussing, some of them don't. So I think it's best to sort of
sure.
explain,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
like in regards to like your son Isaiah and how that motivated you to start the YouTube channel, and then we'll go back to where you
The
were going.
feelings that associated that. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, for those of you that don't know, I forget that I'm not talking to my normal audience. For those that don't know, I lost my son Isaiah to depression July 28th, 2018. And that is to be known as the worst day of my life. Um, those are the feelings of feeling alone and not anybody understanding and just being in a dark place. It's anybody's worst nightmare, I guess.
Mm.
And I guess I just didn't want anybody else to feel this level of pain, if that makes any sort of sense.
Oh, that makes total sense. Like in communicating to people what it is that's going on inside of you, getting across in a articulate way, maybe by them being able to share some level of that pain, they'll realize how important it is to not exacerbate that or bring that to other people so that it acts sort of like as a poison. So as you said, you did your YouTube channel. You put out that first video, and when you first started, like you put out the first video, and then you continuously decided to do it. And sort of, what was the motivating factor that kept you going? Were you just sort of doing it as a hobby, hoping that whoever would listen? You weren't really expecting anybody to things to blow up as they eventually did.
A lot of different things came about it. I think it felt therapeutic. I don't know how many people out there like me, but if I'm having some sort of panic or meltdown, my first go-to is a third person talk in the mirror. Rachel, you need to calm your ass down, take some deep breaths, and that works for me. So it was therapeutic. But hearing Isaiah's name, that I think was huge. It gave me a sense of feeling like he'd be proud of me.
Hmm.
And obviously, just the fact that if anybody out there, if it helped anybody out of the dark, that's a blessing. or whatever you want to call it.
Well, it certainly did, and we'll sort of get more into that in just a second. I'm sort of wary of the fact that I think this is going to turn into sort of a back and forth between you and I, Rachel. But if at any time you want to interrupt us and you want to say something, please do.
Well, I will just make a small comment, and it probably is appropriate for it to be back and forth between you and Rachel for the most part. And I don't mind. But one of the things I did notice when I looked at the comments on her videos was there's a huge realm of people who are saying you helped them a great deal. An awful lot of the traffic is about people who face this problem, who face the pain and the anguish and have all kinds of empathy, and they feel better. And somehow or another, it's clearing up some debris, some sort of stuff in the back of their heads. So, yeah,
sort of
it seems like a wonderful thing.
sort of articulating and validating those dark
Yep.
thoughts that people have held within them, and hearing somebody else say that, there's that sort of synchronous feeling between what you have on the inside and what you have on the outside, and sort of makes you feel enlightened. Sort of that's sort of
Yeah, and also, Rachel, because you do it so authentically from a real place with, you know, no element of artifice at all. It really speaks to the heart. It's difficult not to weep along with you.
Oh God, I did a lot of that. Yeah, but like as you said, John, you're right, because of how I came across Rachel and how much of her content has helped me and helped others. It really is sort of a back and forth. But I just wanted to make it known that please just jump in if at any time.
I'll jump in with my big heavy boots whenever I
Okay.
feel there's room.
So I sort of alluded to this earlier on when I was just introducing Rachel, but when she did these videos, when did I come across them? I think it was, around April this year. That sounds about right. Something like that. I came across them when I was feeling particularly down about myself and wondering if the pain that I was feeling, both physically, but especially mentally, obviously, was worth dealing with, and whether I should go on. And then when I listened, I came across Rachel's videos completely by accident, just by putting a search into the YouTube algorithm. And when I sort of witnessed the content of Rachel's videos, what it sort of took me aback, as you said, John, is just the raw, brutal honesty of it. Because you see a whole bunch of videos on YouTube where people are sort of sanitizing things for the sake of clicks, or just, I don't know, for whatever reason. And you sort of have at the back of your mind that some of what you're watching isn't authentic. And it's a real shame, because whenever somebody truly is authentic and you witness this online, at least this is my experience, it's a really truly special thing, because it's so terribly rare. So when Rachel sort of detailed what her experience has been like in regards to losing her son and the effects that has, it allowed for a whole bunch of people across the world to really truly have a human moment with somebody that was suffering that much. And I think that's sort of the reason why she got the response that she got. But hold on, let me take a little bit of a step back here. So because I was feeling so terribly at the time, and I came across Rachel, who experienced this terrible tragedy, it sort of put my own suffering into perspective. And when I was trying to find a way to cope with it, I realized, well, here's a way that I can sort of provide the meaning for my own life that can sustain me despite the pain that I was going through. And what I decided was, hey guys, this is what I'm going through, but I don't, instead of using this as a way to sort of weep online and have people send me donations, I was like, here's what you can do instead. Go support this woman. She's doing something truly valuable. She's letting people know that this is the reality of suicide. And if you're having these feelings and you carry them out, this is what's going to happen if you do it. And by watching these videos, I hope that you will realize, as I did, the true worth that you have. And sort of this is where I'll sort of throw it over to Rachel as to what happened after this. Do you sort of want to tell people about that, Rachel?
Well, it we don't exactly know what it did, but it did
It
something.
did
It changed,
something.
like it did something. My emails started blowing up. I It changed the algorithm. Well, first we got the haul, the carryover of your viewers, and that was amazing. So all of a sudden I had this spike. So I don't remember, it was a few hundred immediately, and it was just amazing. And then all of a sudden, it was just like this uptick of thousands.
Mm.
And it was just humbling and overwhelming. And just to see all these pictures that people were sending in with like Isaiah's name on it or saying Isaiah's name. And it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think what happened, like you said, we don't know exactly for sure, but I have a hypothesis. I think it's because of all the people that went over to your videos, started subscribing, started commenting. What YouTube, at least the algorithm nowadays, tends to do is when it realizes that there's a huge amount of traffic going somebody's way, what they'll try to do is take that person's videos and try to put them into the recommended feeds of other people. And that way it generates the likelihood that more people will click, more people will watch, more people will subscribe, and thus sort of inflate the activity that YouTube is known for. And so as a result, what happened to you was I think around the time I discovered you, you were around what, 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, and then what? And then
Yeah, I think it might have even been at like 700. I think I got excited because I think you pushed me over the thousand. I don't even know because I remember it was like a little bump and then just all some boom,
yeah,
and yeah. So
it,
maybe, yeah, 1,000, we'll say.
it seems like that seems like the most likely of the scenarios that we could come up with. So what happened after that?
Just an outpouring of just love and support mainly. You got a few nasty comments in there. Shame on you, peeps. But
Yeah.
for the most part, a majority of just, it seems like rather the bereaved. And for those, I think most people know what that means, but bereaved, if you've lost somebody, you've lost a
Mm.
child mainly. So a lot of parents. And then there was also the people that were suffering, and a lot of the bereaved are still in that category. So yeah, so it was just two different levels of rather saying I understand where you're coming from as I've lost somebody to suicide, or the other aspect of I understand what you're saying because I can relate to the depression and the wanting
Mm.
to leave. And it was, yeah.
Yeah, when I've gone through your videos and I've seen the positive response that people have left, and I'm sort of comparing this to my entire history on YouTube, which has been what, like a decade, over a decade of watching videos. I sort of, somebody who's on the spectrum, I tend to have a higher sense of pattern recognition. And so I pay attention to videos and, like to dislike ratios and views. And what I found unique about your channel compared to all the channels that I've come across is just the amount of positivity that people were trying to send your way, the amount of people that just wanted to support and help you. It was so unique, and I hadn't seen anything like it. And that's sort of one of the main reasons why I wanted to continue to support you and elevate you as much as I could. Yeah, you sort of briefly alluded to it, and I also sort of briefly alluded to it, but I don't. I was sort of wondering if I could get your own personal perspective on this, because I think this is always an interesting question to ask, especially when I'm talking to other YouTubers. What do you think it was about the message that you sent out that people found so valuable and so infectious? And because like I see all these people that are commenting on your videos, especially the more popular ones, saying, wow, what you did was completely turn me off the idea of suicide forever. What do you think was so unique about your message compared to the message that you get from PSAs that we've seen over the years and stuff like that?
I think the sense of realness and raw. I'm coming from a place of honesty, and I think people can see both sides of the depression. I am very quick to admit my depression issues before and after losing Isaiah. And I think that that is relatable to a lot of people. So it's not just my depression after losing my son, but I was able to relate with him and his issues before that as well. And I think just understand. I understand.
Max, that was a good question. And I didn't quite ever think about that until this moment. But we're not talking about, Rachel, you relieving other people's depression and sadness, but actually saving lives. I mean, it just blew my mind how much I realized you could have, as Max said, turned people away from suicide. That's a pretty powerful weapon you got there.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? It's something that we all have. It's letting people know it's okay to not be okay. We just have to
Yeah.
be able to talk about it. And it's something that we put up on billboards, but until we start like actually doing it, it's not going to
For
happen.
generations, I've seen policymakers talking about removing the stigma. It's nonsense. What you're doing is actually removing the stigma because you're making it real.
Yeah, that's what you just said there, Rachel and Max, Rachel and John. Sorry, I tend to pat myself on the back. No, what you just said there really resonated with me. It's something that I'm always saying about all these people that you see in the news or in the media or on online that are like you said, John, oh yeah, Rachel, we need to break the stigma. We need to talk about mental health. When a lot of them, I hate to be cynical about this, but unfortunately, it's just from my own experience, it really seems to be true. A lot of these people are just talking. They just want to say this stuff and they don't actually want to put forward the effort. But what Rachel did here, because she's unfortunately had to go through this, she actually made the effort. And because she's one of the few people that did, people really resonated to that. They respected her for that. I think that's actually a key component as to what brought a lot of people to her.
And it's another fabulous thing in your foundation, Rachel, that is an astonishing thing because the joining this whole episode to the ecosystem that we're in the world is so magnificent
Thank you.
To involve this in the way our world presents itself to us and the way we respond to it and what that does to people. And creating a better view of the world, you know?
Yeah.
Even like parks, like the way buildings are shaped, the way roads are, the way traffic signs are. Like I go to downtown Toronto quite often, and wow, it's an unfriendly place, downtown Toronto. Like it's really, really unfriendly, and it drives people crazy. We had an incident in Hamilton, Ontario, just about a week ago, where two people had a road rage incident. One guy gets out of his car and smashes the other guy to virtually oblivion. Yeah, and why? Somebody turned a corner or said something nasty. So, I mean, we live in a very tense place, and here you are undoing some of that tenseness. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they say that like bringing, I've been doing a lot of research on it and it's a lot of scattered articles. But there's a lot of ecotherapy is kind of like a basic broad term for different things. But doing a combination of seeing your value in the world immediately, your presence in the world and being able to contribute your artistic value. And I don't know. Climate change is important.
Well, we're sort of briefly...
when we get there.
No. Well, we're sort of briefly alluding to it. I think we should just jump right into what we're talking about. So, Rachel, as you know, after all the success that you had on YouTube, obviously, once that sort of initial spike of success happens for YouTubers, you start to think a little bit more long term, like I have, like everybody else has. And one of the things that you've thought about in terms of trying to continue your support of other people that might be going through some stuff is your foundation. I'm just trying to bring up the graphic that I took of the main website. So while I'm doing that, do you just sort of want to talk about what you set up?
Sure. I'll try to go right from the beginning. Isaiah was an artist and a photographer, 19. So that was an inspiring thing. We were invited to do a gallery event with the semicolon. It's one of my videos. And we couldn't locate a lot of Isaiah's art. And he was showcased next to another talented artist named Jackson Broder, who also lost his wife by suicide here locally. And Jackson is an amazing artist and had a lot of art to contribute. And knowing Isaiah, he wouldn't want to be not represented, just one art piece and a few doodles. I had a call out to his friends and said, hey, his art classmates and friends. And I said, would you be willing to donate art on Isaiah's behalf? We're going to be selling prints. So you would be signing over your rights, but it would be going to a good cause. And at that time, it was the Beautiful Mind Project, which I've talked a lot about through my videos. And it kind of spun the idea of taking that and doing it more globally. And so we named it Artisms, which is Isaiah's initials, Isaiah Stephen Moorefield. And what we're doing now is we are accepting art donations, and we accept them from all over the world. It's not a contest. And we're going to take those entries and we're going to try to take as many of them as we can and put them in a book. And I like to kind of refer to it as like Ohana. It was Steve's idea. He didn't want anybody to feel left behind. And so we can take all of those art pieces and put them in a book. And then we're going to take select pieces and have them online, which artisms.org. And there's already Isaiah's art and his classmates and friends' photography and art pieces on there. But we'll take a few more and we'll keep adding to those artists and their prints. So they'll forever be a starving artist, but their art is going to be going to the betterment of, one, promoting mental health awareness through art, and also reforestation and building parks and just trying to bring some nature back in this world for everybody to enjoy. So
perfect. I do sort of want to just discuss this a little bit further, but if you could just indulge my nostalgia. Did you just make a Lilo and Stitch reference?
Mm-hmm. Oh, this girl is a big cartoon fan. ADHD allows me to watch very little, but Disney and Pixar, you got me covered.
Lilo and Stitch. I've watched that movie so many times when I was a kid, and my sister especially was a huge fan of that movie.
Isaiah was.
Yeah, she was she could do the best Stitch impression, and she would always go around saying, Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind. That was terrible, but you get the point. But yeah, I absolutely, like I think I commented on your video talking about this. I absolutely love this idea. Not just because of like the inherent thing that you're trying to do with it, but also because having done so many episodes of the Differently Wired show, I've come into contact with so many wonderful aspiring artists. Like I have a friend, Eliza, who is a great artist and shows me her stuff all the time. But like there's several people on my Discord server that do stuff like this, and I'm certain that bringing you onto the show and them watching you right now, they'd be inclined to send some of your stuff, some of their stuff to you.
I'd love it.
Yeah,
love it.
So if you guys have any art that you'd like to be a part of this this good cause, please send it to Rachel. Now, Rachel, is there information on the website as to how you can send it in?
Yep, everything's on there. The waiver forms, the why, the how, at the shop, it's all there. It's artisms.org. And you can also find, everything's there.
Wonderful. All right. Let's see. What else was there? Oh, yeah. There's a couple other things that I wanted to get to while we have you. Sorry, I've been covering up your lovely face with the Artisms website. But now that we got that out of the way, let's see. So John and I and you sort of mutually decided to not go into this too much, but I think it's relevant to bring to other people's attention, just as a way of sort of getting across what we're dealing with in regards to YouTube and trying to provide support to people with mental health. So after the huge amount of attention that your channel got and the setting up of the foundation, just briefly tell everybody essentially what we already know, but it's something that has to be repeated. What has YouTube sort of been like for you lately?
As soon as I got monetization status, which is whatever you have to get so many subscribers and so many
Yeah.
views. I had already sent everything in to apply for it, and I got approved. But the videos, I forget what it says. I think they say they are not suitable for most advertisers. And some of them were approved, and then they went back and actually recently unapproved them. So the ones that I had didn't say the S word, it didn't say suicide, and said depression, and said to see if that worked. They went back and unmonetized those. And it's not so much about making the money as it is that it's that they're not going to promote videos that they can't make money on. So it kind of leaves us in the dark.
Yeah, this reminds me, I gotta send you a video that one of my moderators sent me about a week ago, Rachel, about apparently there are a series of YouTube channels that decided to test what terms that you say in a video or when the tags of a video will lead to demonetization. And they're pretty thoroughly tested. It's just such a shame that a lot of the terms center around mental health. And how exactly are we going to be able to make a better world for people with mental health problems if we can't support the people that are actually having the courage to talk about it? So I'll send you the list of those terms so that when you decide to do videos, you'll have a better chance of getting monetized. Yeah, one of them is autism spectrum disorder. That absolutely blew my mind. Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
Yeah, they did like a series of 15,000 words just testing what works and what doesn't. And yeah, that's one of them, autism and autism spectrum disorder. So, like I said, it sort of leaves people like Rachel and people like John and I in sort of a weird place, because what we want to do is we have a whole bunch of people that are watching the show live right now, people that are watching it after, people that watch my Asperger's videos or Rachel's vlogs that want support. They need some help coming out of this dark place so that they can go on leading a happy and meaningful life. But unfortunately, because both of us more or less do this out of the goodness of our hearts, it's really difficult to build on top of that. So we're trying to find other avenues. Obviously, you can support Rachel on her channel. I'm sure she has links to certain things where you can support her financially. I'll put a link to your channel in the description after we're done. I should have done that before. I apologize. As well as myself. But in the meantime, like, obviously I understand not everybody can do that. Rachel and I have sort of been discussing offline how we can move forward in terms of trying to provide support to people that might need it. Because, Rachel, you get a whole bunch of people commenting saying that they're going through some rough patches, but we obviously can't get to everybody. So
Right.
what we sort of decided to do is bring our channels together in a certain way. So do you want to sort of detail to people, like, just get the ball rolling?
I so would, but I think you've had to correct me because I think I've called it Concord half a dozen times. So I'm just going to let you take away on this one.
Okay. So I briefly alluded to this at the beginning of the show. So you know how I was talking about Discord, guys? Well, what I said about here, I'll just bring up an image of the server again. What I said about my Discord server being a wholesome place, it really is. And I want to sort of build it in a way. And, but how do I explain this? Sorry, just give me a second. So as I was saying, Rachel, obviously, she has a lot to deal with in her personal life, same with me, and we can't get to everybody and listen to everybody, respond to each comment as much as we would like, because most of the time we are doing it out of the goodness of our own hearts. But there have been people in my community that have volunteered to moderate my Discord server, and also we have a special role set up where if there are people that want to volunteer to listen to other people's problems, they can be there and they'll do it in a non-judgmental way. Well, Rachel and I, as I said, we were discussing on Facebook. Well, if you're having trouble with this and getting back to other people while also maintaining your responsibilities offline, maybe what we can do is we can find a way to bring our audiences together in this server. So, what Rachel is going to be doing after we're done this show, and it's pre-recorded, I'm going to give her this video so she can put it on her channel. So, if I'm to all the people that are watching this on Rachel's channel, if you're currently going through some stuff and you're not getting some of the mental health support that you need, what I recommend you do is click on the Discord link in the description box of Rachel's video. And Rachel, I'll send you the link to this afterwards, so they can put it in there. What you can do is you can click on that. And what you can do is you can go to my Discord server, and if you're going through some stuff, you'll see, you can't see it in this particular picture that I have up right now, but there will be a list of people on the right-hand side of the Discord window, and you'll see a bunch of people's names who are in green. Those are listeners, and those people are willing to listen to whatever's on your mind, direct you to direct you to resources, give you advice if you need it. And apparently also, which is absolutely lovely to hear from Rachel, is that there are people that want to moderate and listen as well. Do you know, like, how many people have sort of offered to be part of that?
I've had a few, and hopefully maybe they can help me by like commenting again or emailing me. I got some on Instagram, and I got some in emails, and I got some on the comments. And so I'm trying to remember where everything was. I'm trying to think of the best way. Would the best way for them be to contact you or contact me at this point, Max? I think I have like 6 to 12 people that contacted me.
Wow, that's great. It'll certainly take the load off of my moderators, because they're essentially my slaves willingly. No, I'm kidding.
And these people so far, I mean, and then the ones that are popping in my head are people that have been fantastic so far on my comments, and they've just been full of love. So I'm happy to send them your way.
Yeah. Because let's face it, guys, unfortunately, the reality of the internet is there's a lot of hatred and a lot of negativity out there. But we really do have something special going on with this Discord server here. I have weekly meetings with my moderators every Tuesday. And I do this because I want to make sure that they're not overburdened and there aren't any problems. And having done this for the past few months, there's only been 1 or 2 times where there's been a serious issue. Everybody, I'm always hearing back from them saying everybody's really nice, everybody's really supportive. So if you are currently in a place where you're struggling with your mental health or you're having suicidal thoughts, I highly recommend that you click on the link in the description box of this video, whether you're watching it on my channel or on Rachel's channel. Go to the Discord server and please reach out if need be. You do have worth, and I think this is actually a good place to bring Rachel back in and sort of assert the core message that she puts at the end of each of her videos regarding how meaningful people's lives are, even when you feel truly terrible about yourself.
My message is kind of be the light. And we all have value and we all have worth. And I know how incredibly hard it can be for us to see that in ourselves sometimes, and I'm included. I struggle with it daily. Even on good days, I'm still struggling with my worth. But we can all be the light for others. And if we can't, then it's just really important, I say, to keep our pilot light going. Because we do all matter. Isaiah mattered, I matter, Max, you matter. We all matter.
Yeah.
John?
That's interesting. You should use the expression pilot light, because of course that's a little tiny light that you can call on. And it starts things going. So that's a wonderful concept. If I may, I'd like to ask Rachel, since July of last year, have you discovered any writers or therapies or anything that you have found particularly helpful? I ask this for a couple of reasons. I want to know, but also some of our listeners who may be struggling, you may have come across somebody you found helpful, or some therapy or something.
Honestly, like the YouTube thing, the being around like-minded people, and honestly, you guys don't know what my subscribers, whatever you want to call them, they've been the light for me too, and they've saved me too. And I know that I struggle a lot with, can I do this anymore? And because it takes a lot out of me, but in the long haul of things, or whatever you want to call it, they've been my therapy. They've just knowing I'm not alone. you know?
Perfect.
Yeah, Rachel, you and I, as YouTubers, we can get kind of cynical about the way YouTube treats its creators, but we do tend to lose sight of the other side of the coin, where a lot of the reason why we are still here and functioning as well as we are today is because of all the wonderful people that have been reaching out to us, especially after, like, I did that video that sort of directed people to your channel. People just messaged me in droves saying how much they've helped me out, and it really does help keep things in perspective, and I think it's important that we continue to do that. And by the way, speaking of Discord, Rachel, I gotta find some way to sort of get you familiar with using Discord, because I think you'll find, just by interacting with the people there, how much better your day can be, and just brightened by people that are genuinely excited to see you and genuinely excited to hear your thoughts.
Agreed.
And just talk to you. Yeah. So we'll figure that more out after, the show goes up and we're talking on Facebook and stuff. Wow, usually the show goes on for a full hour, but we still have, it's 7:43 right now, at least where I am. I'm just trying to think about what other things we could talk about. John, did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah, I had one other thing that just crossed my mind. Rachel, I'm wondering what things outside the YouTube community, are there other things you find helpful to divert your attention? Other activities that you might do that you find somehow helpful or hopeful?
I've actually been having a very hard time getting my mind to divert. There are very few things that allow me to separate myself from Isaiah. I thought that maybe taking a break from the YouTube, maybe that doing that was even kind of part of that if I was throwing myself in too much. And I'm going to be honest, no. There hasn't been anything, and that's actually something I struggle with the YouTube, is I want to show people that this pain keeps going and that I'm really struggling, but I worry that I'm bringing people down with it. But no, John, I haven't found anything yet.
I'm interested because the thing you suffered is a trauma-inducing thing, for sure. It's not a normal up and down thing. And there are certain kinds of therapists who are trauma-informed, whose work it is to get people not to forget, but to put in context traumatic events. So you're not actually, like, when these things happen to you, they don't just affect your mind, they affect your mood, your body, they affect everything that is you, the energy around you is affected. And so these kinds of therapists try to help people put that in a kind of a context, so it becomes more of an image rather than something that tears your heart apart.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I don't know if you've read any of the work of Gabor Mate, Bessel van der Kolk. These guys are.
Oh, she has.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the nodding was, yeah, you have.
No. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm hard to read sometimes. I'm listening, and
yeah.
I forgot I'm recorded.
Okay. Anyway, that's fine. But the trauma-informed therapists, and there are several kinds of them, they focus their attention on getting the body and mind to integrate and reframing kind of whatever that traumatic set of events happen to be. And it's I'm not giving you advice, but I'm kind of making a plug for
if anybody could.
Yeah. Well, they focus on folks with PTSD, but they also focus on people who've had long-term developmental trauma that may have started before they were born, which is kind of weird. But I do have clients who've identified things that were traumatic that happened before they got born. Things that went wrong, things that happened to mom or something. And some of this stuff can lead to really long-term sense of emptiness and loss and depression and anxiety and all that whole cascade of stuff. So anyway,
interesting.
It seems to me a way forward, you've identified a way forward that's active and productive for a lot of people. And there is a parallel I see in integrating mind and body with integrating the memory of Isaiah and making parks and making art and making things come together in a kind of a new ecosystem, an ecosystem of help. And the Discord server, it seems to be almost an ecology of its own, right? But it's within a harmony of what you've been doing. So anyway, I encourage people to have a look at trauma-informed therapists.
Yeah, that sounds like something I could probably use.
Yeah. They're often associated with stuff like yoga, stuff like Reiki, things of that sort. Things that are not Western medicine. They're kind of a blend of things. Western medicine hasn't been really helpful with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, it's what's great about John and how he's helped me in the past is he's open to a whole bunch of different methods and getting people to try them out, even as esoteric and odd as they might sound. Some of them actually do work. What was I just about to say? Yeah, in regards to what you were saying, Rachel, about wondering if the videos you're doing are going to be bringing people down. I understand why you think that. Obviously, the issue of suicide is naturally something that's going to do that. But obviously what I'm going to say, it's easy to say, but in terms of actually integrating what I'm saying into your everyday life and letting it influence your video output, it's a lot harder. But honestly, just in regards to the videos that you've done, I think they've done a lot more to lift people up and see their worth than they have done to bring people down. Because when they understand what the actual act of suicide does, it makes them realize, it's made me realize what positive stuff that I've done and how much potential there is for me to take things into my own hands and redirect the course of my life. So what I'm basically just trying to say is that even if you're not feeling up to making videos right now, which I understand, I get that feeling all the time, please just seriously consider doing them continuously, because they've helped me and helped an enormous amount of people. Now, because we have just a few minutes left, I was just wondering if you would be willing. There are 53 people watching this live right now, and a couple of them have been asking a couple of questions. Obviously, there won't be any bad questions. Everybody here that listens live is perfectly civil and kind. I was just wondering if you'd be willing to respond to a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course.
So I'll just start out with the very easy one. One of them, it comes from Alina DeHaller, Werewolf Queen. That's an awesome.
Miley wants to be a werewolf for Halloween, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Miley does. I don't know how scary she can possibly be. I mean, like the other day when she came on the call, she was the most precious thing I'd ever seen. And maybe she could be like a Disney werewolf. I don't know. But anyway, she asks, cute cat, what's her name?
That is probably Lincoln. He is
probably Lincoln.
He's ADHD. He's always all over the place, and I usually don't. Wherever I am, he's usually there. So that's Lincoln. Isaiah actually bought him. We helped somebody out by bringing some puppies to the Humane Society that didn't have homes, and we left with a cat. Happens.
Oh. It's too bad. Like, I can totally see myself as a cat person. It's just, unfortunately, I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to everything.
Everybody's allergic to them, it seems like. So,
It's too bad, but it is what it is. Dead Red Eye says, I lost 2 close friends to suicide. Well, this isn't a question, but I'm just reading it out to you because I think it's important. He says, I lost 2 close friends to suicide within the last 2 years, and Rachel's videos were very helpful for me. Thanks so much for sharing your insight and pain, Rachel.
Thanks. I'm sorry that you're going through that.
Let's see what else. Josie M says, beautiful decor, Rachel. Yeah, it is really beautiful, actually.
I'm a little eclectic. Yeah. Isaiah drew that. So that was him jumping off the quarries. We have quarries here in St. Cloud, so granite quarries.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Okay, Let me see. Oh, Joel Weiss sends in a $2 super chat. He just writes Tuker. I still got to remember what the hell that joke was all about.
Yeah.
It's Rachel. It's an inside joke. You wouldn't get it.
I don't even get it.
Yeah, I don't even get it. So why don't you stop? No, actually, no, don't stop. Send us more money, please. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you can say Tuker all the time. Just keep sending in the money.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Emerald Queen says hi, Rachel. Square Samuel says hello, Rachel. Let's see. All Canadians live in igloos. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I wonder if it's something having to do with the stream. But usually we have more people commenting. But what I've noticed, maybe one of my moderators put it in slow mode or something, which would be too bad, because not a whole lot of people tend to be writing. It's either, I think it's pretty much just a problem with the way that the YouTube chat stream is working. So fortunately, there's not a whole lot of people sending in questions at the moment. But anyways, we're just about to finish anyway, so it's okay. Who's knocking?
Not me.
Oh, okay.
Must be the cat.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a dog. She's doing stuff. It's probably me.
Okay. Anyways, we're just about to end the show anyway. So I was just going to ask Rachel. Well, first of all, Rachel, thank you so much. This has been an absolute joy for me to finally be able to talk to you for like more than just a few minutes and just express my gratitude in person. It was somewhat, you know what I mean. I just wanted to say before we let you go, is there anything else that you wanted to say to the people that are watching at home before we sign out for the night?
Just thanks for supporting me and my family, just by saying Isaiah's name and being the light for others. And I truly mean it, that everybody has worth and value and meaning. So, yeah.
Oh, phone call.
That's just my phone. Don't worry about it.
Those.
That was a fun ending to that. The more you know.
Yeah, we need to put a graphic over that and post edit it.
Yeah.
Damn it, John, we never edit. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so anyways, before we end, I just wanted to put up Rachel's YouTube channel on screen so you guys can see what it looks like. Make sure you go subscribe to her. I will put a link to her channel in the description box below. Honestly, guys, if you are dealing with this stuff, I know like you're going through some tough times. I highly recommend that you listen to what Rachel has to say so that you can understand what the act of suicide does to people. You know, you can't, it's because it's not a reality that you sort of want to face up to, because it is really terrible. When you actually come across it like I did in Rachel's wonderful, wonderful videos, they really do help put things in perspective. And suddenly when because I personally have a great respect for people that show enormous willpower and strength, and very few people in my life have been able to demonstrate that in such a clear way as Rachel has in her videos and what she's going through. So no problem. I think by witnessing that in her videos, you'll be able to find your own inner strength and see your own inner worth, as Rachel says that you should see, and be able to work yourself back up from the pits that you're likely in, as I've been, as anybody that's dealing with this stuff has been. So yeah, please go and support her. And guys, anybody that's willing to join the Discord channel after this, feel free to message me through Twitter or in the comments of my videos. If you're having trouble getting in, I'll be more than happy to help you and provide you the support that you need. So I think that, well, actually, hold on, just let me check one last time to see if the chat is still going pretty slow. Oh, well, Remy Dolce says, watching your videos really helped me in a time of pure darkness. It's true. All right. So,
Remy.
Sorry?
I said, hey, Remy.
Hey, Remy. So, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this episode of the Differently Wired show. I want to thank Rachel again. I want to thank John, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks so much for coming on. It's been
lovely to meet you, Rachel.
Oh, it was great to meet you, too.
It's been awesome. And until we do this again next week, I just want to remind you guys, stay yellow.